Hey everyone, so today's lesson we're going to look at three chords, A, E and D, also known as A major, E major and D major. The first one we're going to start with is A major. Now to do this, grab your first finger and if you're starting from the top of the string, count down 1, 2 strings, okay? So this finger is now here on what we call the D string. Another way you can just try and remember it is skip the top 2 strings and then place your first finger here. Also, take a note of all the gaps here. So those are called frets. Okay, so we're actually here on the 2nd fret. So you can place your first finger there. Now your second finger is actually going to go underneath your first finger, pressing on the string below it, and then your third finger also underneath that. So your guitar will probably look a little bit different. I'm actually using an electric guitar. The strings and the frets are much closer together, but if you're using an acoustic guitar, you'll probably have a much easier time. So once you've placed all 3 fingers there, give that chord a strum, but only from this string downwards. Okay? So we're not playing from the top, we're playing from here. So that's an A major. Next thing is E major. Now to go from A to E, take off these 2 fingers. Okay. Now your first finger is going to go across, back across a string, and then down a string like that. Okay. So I was here with A. Take those 2 off. Go back and down. So that's what we call your starting point, or your, I guess what I would call just your home note if you're trying to play this chord. Now with these 2 fingers, your second finger is going to go up the top, here on the A string, so skipping the top one, and then your third finger goes underneath that. Now this chord you can strum all 6 strings, so I'm going to be going from the very top all the way down to the bottom. So that is E major. Okay, so if I'm going from A and I want to change to E, just follow those same steps. Now if I want to go from E back to A major, just do it in the reverse order. You take away these 2, lift this one up, bring it across, and then tuck the other 2 underneath. Okay, we're now going to look at the third chord, which is D major. Take these 2 fingers off. Okay, so you've got your first finger here. Now move that over to the 2nd fret. Okay? Place your second finger at the very bottom. At the very bottom, that's the E string there. And then your third finger is actually going to go in between these 2 fingers, but on the 3rd fret. For this chord, only play the bottom 4 strings. So you're going to skip the top 2 and only play the bottom 4. Okay, so that's how you play A, E, and D. Try playing each chord 8 times, or strumming them 8 times. And then switch to your next chord. Strum that 8 times. And then the next one. And then go back, reverse order. So I'm now on E major. And now I'm back home again. Okay, so just a couple of things. You don't always have to do this little trick that I showed you where you slide across and then move down to play E and then move across to do this other chord, which is D major. you can actually just lift your fingers off and go to the next chord if that's easier for you. But for some people who are still learning where to place their fingers, or might have a hard time remembering where do I place my first finger, this is probably a good way to remember, just having these little movements like that. If you can get your first finger in the correct place, it's a good starting point, and then you can slowly add the rest. But if you get your first finger in the wrong place from the beginning, sometimes that can make it a little bit more difficult to remember where the rest of your fingers are supposed to go. Another thing to remember is try and press anywhere in the middle of the fret or close to the fret on the right side. You'll notice that if I push further back and I play that string, it kind of sounds a little bit muted or a little bit rattly or buzzy. But if I move it to the middle, it's now got a clearer note. And just a couple more other things to remember. When you play your chords, try and get your fingers curling over. Okay, curl them over so that they're not sitting flat on the strings like this. Okay, I see a lot of people pressing down like that. All right, what you want to do is curl them over like this. All right, and that way your fingers aren't going to get, they're not going to get in the way of each other. See how you go with those 3 chords, and then we'll try out another 3 for the next lesson.